Okay, so what we're going to build today, everyone, is a website using FlexBox, and I have the finished product on the screen. It's pretty basic. It's got a header, it's got a nav bar with a drop down. It's got a kind of a hero section or a spotlight section with a background image. We've got some items that are for sale. In this case, we've just got images and headings and prices, but they're repeating themselves. You can see fancy, special, glitzy camera, then it says fancy, special, glitzy, and it's just the same markup many times. And it kind of looks like a grid, but if you were to change the window size, you would see that it does respond. Everything is responsive down to 2 rows. And so this is all using FlexBox. Again, I kind of show you down here. And this is going to be the page that we're coding today. So it's a pretty simple site, not too complex. And the way that we're going to approach this is we're just gonna chunk it through the HTML first. We're gonna go from top to bottom, code all the markup first, get that good to go, and then we will code the CSS second. So kind of that's going to be the approach. And again, that's a finished product that we're building towards. You can kind of see we've got some font awesome icons in there as well, and a search bar, and some dummy links. All right, so I'm putting this in my Chapter 9 lab folder. Chapter 9 was the chapter on FlexBox. So if you open up the Chapter 9 folder in your repository and kind of start with your template, that's where I'm going to put this. And the title of this website is Flex Shop. And right away, I'm going to go ahead and link to a CSS document. I haven't created this CSS document, so I'll create this first. I'll create my document, and then I'll link to it. So underneath my root repository, which is my Chapter 9 lab, I'll go ahead and make a folder called Styles. So a new folder called Styles. And I'll also make my images folder while I'm at it. I almost made one inside the other. So we got a couple of sibling folders there, styles and images. And then inside of the styles folder, I'll create my site.css. And I'm not going to type anything in my CSS yet. It's going to be a blank document, so I'll go ahead and close that for now. But again, I have a styles folder and a site.css. And right away, we can go ahead and link to that. So I'll create a pretty simple link to my external CSS here on line number 7, and give your website a title. And we're going to get started with the header. Now, as I'm going through this, you can see I'm going to add a header with a class of header. Obviously, we'll use that in the CSS later on. I coded this site a while ago for the first time. Maybe I could have just selected the header tag instead of adding a class of header. I'm not sure, but we'll see when we get to the CSS. Point being is, maybe I could have been slightly more efficient. inside of the header, there was a logo, and that logo just linked to my home page. And there's going to be a shop.png. Let me style this all on one screen so you can see it. With the class of header logo. So we have an image link that links back to our home page. And where you can get this image, I almost want to use Font Awesome, but for the sake of this, since I used a picture, I'm sure I used some sort of CSS that made that picture responsive. So instead of switching it up to Font Awesome, I'm going to keep it an image for now. And what I'll have to do is I'll have to make this image available to you guys for maybe I'll put it on Inside Rankin, just the resource files, and then this image will be in that resource files. For now, I have my images folder from my finished product, and it's safe to say what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my Chapter 9 repository, which is on my desktop here. Labs Chapter 9 images, and I'm just going to copy all the images from my finished product. Again, I'll make these available to you guys, and paste it into my images directory here. And so now cart, or it's shop.png, and if I launch this site, we've got a ginormous image in our face. We'll have to style down hopefully sooner than later. Continuing on. Underneath our anchor, we have an H1 class of header text. And another link to your home page. It says Flex Shop. Okay, I'm going to try and style this in a way that's easy to see. So inside of the H1, we've got an anchor tag that says Flex Shop. And we haven't technically covered HTML forms at this point. But we're going to put a form on the page. Again, we'll cover this in a little bit more detail in a chapter or two. So underneath the H1, we have a form tag with 3 different attributes. And inside of that, we're going to put a text box that's going to be used for search. It's going to have placeholder text that says search. We'll give it a class of header search box. Have to zoom out a little bit. Can everyone still see this okay? Had to zoom out just a little bit for you to see that. So that's the form tag. Again, just kind of looking at the finished product, I kind of show you what we're coding here. We saw the giant image. We saw the H1 that's a link. Now we have the form, right? Now we see a couple of more image links. Okay, now we're going to code these image links, and that's going to be the end of the header. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to chunk these videos up into different sections: header, nav, hero, items, and footer. Kind of the main section and footer. So we've coded the three things here. We've got two more image links to code. So underneath the form, just make a link that goes to the same page. Inside of that we have an image. Give it an alt title. Source is images, and this is user.png. Put this on 2 lines. And give it a class of header account. And we close the anchor tag. So again, the class is header account on that first image. Second image, shopping cart, title of shopping cart, cart.png, class of header cart. Okay, then we close anchor tag, close the header. Once I give you all the images, the current document will look kind of ridiculous. That's what you get without CSS. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording here and get everyone caught up.